Um, Hi. So I'm going to read my fic Resistance, or 24 Hours, as its alternate title is, as requested by my friend Scribblestorm for this lovely little meme that has shown up, and I have decided to do. um, Forgive any cough clearing my throat like I actually have to do now. I have a cold. I'm very sorry about that, and forgive any laughing I have in the middle. So I'm probably just wasting time right now, and I'll get on to the fic. So here I go. 24. When the paper touched Lucia's hand, he knew it was over. He then watched paper burn away in the rain. 24 hours, and that's all. From the second he read it, there were two thoughts that consumed him. First, the familiar thrill, the bliss, the pure impersonal elation of a single meeting. Second, the future, dreams, the end of these horrors, the start of something else, something better. He discovers that the recognition of when the end and the beginning are about to overlap is not always grand. It's dull, it's distant, and it grows closer only at the slowest possible pace. When it hits, it's a smile, perhaps a laugh, warmth, hope, and fear all together, because there are a million variables, and some number of them are desperately unfavorable. Well, there's also the breathtaking feeling of not turning back, of throwing away the past, of reaching your hands out towards tomorrow, to a place where he can't redeem himself in their unjust eyes. That this is right to him. And the just as wonderful feeling of the night before all of this is to happen, a stolen few hours just for themselves. It's a simple thing. Victory, their end, and a beginning. Failure, his end, and nothing. Or an end for themselves, and the beginning of a future. 23. He finds himself waiting beneath the metal door frame, as is their routine, patiently and quietly in what little shelter it offers. Though it leaves time for his thoughts to wander, for doubts to form, he casts them away without a second thought. When the door finally opens, and he's welcomed inside by the arms of an embrace instead of guns pressed against his neck, he's almost surprised. But like always, he remembers that this isn't home. No one is suspicious. He drinks in the moment and doesn't let go. They end up kneeling on the floor in the same hold for longer than they intended. 22. He's guilty because he doesn't want it to end. He was once told that it's selfless to do what he does, but he thinks of how this is selfish, to come here, to stay here, all in the name of their own satisfaction. So when he cringes to think about how that may not be the case tonight, he wonders why that hurts. Suzaku must know he's worried. His eyes give it away, and he softly pulls him closer without any warning. 21. Trembling by the window, the night outside is gray, but rain, acidic and destructive, hasn't come yet. Warmth does nothing for him. The head on his shoulder, the whispers in his ear, that's his only relief, he thinks for a second, before realizing he may be becoming the nightmare itself. And he hates himself for the fear. He isn't afraid of death. The fear only exists for him, for the man on his shoulder, for what they're doing. He'll be that man's death one day. I'll kill you, Suzaku, he whispers back at last. If not tomorrow, then someday. They'll kill me. He's not looking back. He's staring distantly to a place that Lidish can't see. He almost wants to turn his head, ever so gently, so that he'll face him, but he doesn't. But I'll bring it upon you. He closes his eyes and smiles. It's okay then. I chose this as much as you did. Lip silences his next complaint, but he doesn't really mind. It's better than anything he could have said. 20. They haven't left the windowsill, and he thinks that it might be the most wonderful night he's ever had. Just as wonderful as all of those other nights they've spent together, or more, for it now has a larger purpose. At the same time, guilt consumes him for giving it such a purpose, but the murmured conversations are better distractions for this than they are for fear, and even more so, there's the reassurance that they agreed on this. And he thinks that tomorrow, he'll risk it all. He's risking it all right now. Perhaps that's why it's so sweet. 19. It murders him when a desperate, gentle whisper presses against his right ear. Don't go there tomorrow. Don't go, please. He ignores it, but says nothing. It's now his turn to be the soother. He strokes his hair without a single word, and his thoughts turn to how revolting the world is, when this will have them killed. Could be wrong, but it should have been right. 18. The time comes without any regard to their sentiments, because it has to. They awaken, or maybe they never slept at all, and there is a weighted silence before Ludish slips away. A hand reaches out to his wrist, strong, like always, far stronger than his, but with no force behind it, and it slips off his skin seconds after it reaches it. In realization of its futility, or of what was it, or what has to happen, he isn't sure. They already know, is all he can whisper. There is no response other than a painful meeting of the eyes, before he tears himself away and heads for the exit. It's been wonderful to live again. He then leaves, and closes the door without waiting for a response. A response was coming, and he knew it existed, but of course, he didn't hear it, nor did he want to. 17. The sweet voice and beautiful eyes are abruptly replaced by the creaks of a door opening, by winds, or by the hand of people, the rattles of half-broken cars thundering across the tracks, ashen posters, dust settled on each corner and railing, unplanned skylights and broken ceiling. There's a smell that lingers in the air, but it isn't made of a single scent. It's the smell of rusting metal, of gasoline, of burnt paper, cloth, and something else, something he doesn't want to think about. It's familiar to him, in a twisted way. A second home of rails and dust, a second home that is in many ways closer to the factual world than his real home is. He can see his breath, and his long coat doesn't seem to provide the warmth it should. Still, there are colder things around him. There's death, and it watches him. It lives in corners, down the tunnels, below the platforms of every station, around every turn. He keeps his breath calm and even. He has no room to worry about anything else. The train is the single most important thing to him in this moment. To reach the city center, where gorgeous white houses stand and fresh water flows. It's terrible there. 16. The train is awful and moves too fast. It's falling apart. The metal is peeling away. Yet he is placing all of his hopes in its arrival. As he waits, each second is an hour, each minute is a day. It's taking too long to come. It's off schedule, even for the shaky, tentative excuse of one that it has. Time is being wasted. People are moving now. The parts are all shifting, and he still hasn't reached his place. 15. It must be past 3 in the morning by now, but the clock's hands no longer move to tell him if he's wrong. They stopped God knows how long ago, on some damned night laden with bombs and smoke, when this building crumbled for the first time its inside burned. Some damn night, just like the previous, that's what they'll say. Because they already know. Because they already do. They were about to be discovered anyways, so he threw a caution to the wind. The consequence is unmistakable. The resistance, their lives, all of it is in jeopardy, but all of it already was. That's why he can't fail now. So I hope that was decent. I think that's probably a good amount of time, although part of me actually wants to keep on reading through the rest of it. I hope my voice isn't monotone and boring and weird sounding, because I think it is, but I tried my best, and I hope you enjoyed this. So, yay!